Hello and welcome to Favorite Rugby on Favorite Sports. For today's European Champions Cup quarterfinals review, we moved from 8 teams to 4 teams. You saw the end of the road for South African sides. Two French sides, an Irish side, and an English side do remain, and will have the chance to be crowned the Champions Cup champion in May. But before we look at the games and sort of the results and what we sort of took out the weekend, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Now, it was an interesting weekend. It all started on Friday with what was supposed to be a titanic clash between Leinster and Leicester Tigers. And Leicester Tigers, who had a very good game the week before, were full of confidence, but they're playing against tournament favourites. And Leinster arrived and did what Leinster do best. An incredibly clinical performance from the Irish side, who are undoubtedly the form side of the competition and the favourites for the competition. A 55 points, 24 victory there on Friday night showed just sort of how much better Leicester are than most sides of the world. And they really are, the side to beat. And I think the fact that they didn't win a trophy last year, I think it's very much masked just how good this Leinster side is. I mean, they make up the majority of the world number one side in the world in Ireland, so it's not really a surprise. But even sort of in its own identity, with a couple of younger players and academy players, stuff like that, the structures that they've got involved at Leinster are so powerful that players can come in and go out, and there's never ever a drop in quality. Saturday, we saw the two South African teams bow out. Now, first of all, we saw Sharks against two, which has been quite a controversial match, owing to the presence of French TV directors and, certain replays being shown, certain replays not being shown, as well as the impact that some of the French fans seem to be having on the referee in the middle. And a couple of queries being raised, concerns, I suppose, being raised as well about this is going to sort of impact the World Cup. Now, you can talk a lot about the Sharks, who I thought played very well at sections and then kind of sort of dropped off the end. It is a scoreline which maybe sort of doesn't show how close the game was for a long time. A couple of very good individual performances. Grant Williams, for example, I thought really sort of made a name for himself, scored a brilliant try during the game. Put a Chamberlain as well, impressive, shipped at 15. But at the end of the day, you look at the quality of Toulouse and the likes of, an Antoine Dupont, who I think had like 4 or 5 assists throughout the game. And it was always going to sort of shine through towards the end, especially playing at home. There's no secret that every single team playing at home this weekend did win in the Champions Cup, and shows you how important that home ground advantage is. And that's going to be interesting moving into sort of the next couple of phases, because we're now moving to the semi-finals, finals, where you don't necessarily even get home advantage even if you are the home team, for example. The finals are already being determined. The sort of the venue has already been determined before the final stuff are even confirmed. So we then saw Exeter beating Stormers. Stormers was never really at the races, were they? And had a couple of opportunities, especially towards the end of the first half, to try and score some points, get themselves into the game, but not able to capitalize. And Exeter, probably one of the best performances of the season across all competitions, were very clinical. Scored some very good tries and kept the Stormers out for a long time, which I think was probably the most important thing. Stormers are a side that sometimes rely on a bit of momentum and a couple of moments going their way, and they can really build an innings. But they never really sort of looked like it. And I think they looked like a side that was a bit lethargic. And I think, we have been speaking about the travel a lot, and that has to be a factor to it, but it can't become an excuse. So I think it's been an interesting sort of experience for the two South African teams, understanding what the travel involves and how it can impact teams over the competition. And then on Sunday, the defending champions, La Rochelle, up against Saracens. Saracens probably one of England's main sort of hope as far as themselves and Leicester Tigers. When it came to the quarterfinals, not really probably Exeter Chiefs really in terms of who they expected to do well, but also Saracens again just kind of looked a little bit like shadow in themselves, and Rochelle built the game nicely and got the job done in the end. And this is now set up these semi-finals, which will take place on the 29th and 30th of April. Leinster taking on Toulouse, that will be at the Aviva Stadium, and then La Rochelle versus Exeter Chiefs, that'll be down in Bordeaux. The final has already been confirmed; it will be at the Aviva Stadium. It will be on Saturday on the 20th of May. And so we'll be covering all those games as well. Even though the South teams are out, we will be covering these games, stuff like that. But I want to know what you guys thought about the quarterfinals. I think at the end of the day, I think South Africa are probably, quarterfinals probably about where they should be. Semi-finals, I think, will probably always be a step too far. And I think that we need to put this down as a very much an experience here, a learning curve. And it's highlighted a lot of major issues. For example, it's not so much the traveling in terms of having to go to Europe, but it's the fact that, it's long haul flights across 2 different destinations, taking 24 hours to get from Cape Town, to the UK, which could be a 11, 12 hour direct flight. It could be, it should be leaving on a Monday evening and you're arriving there on Tuesday morning type thing, or Sunday evening, you're arriving there Monday morning, having the full week to prepare yourself. And it's not. And, and issues with players, traveling in economy class, and, you've got very big players cramped into small spaces and just not at their best when it comes to the matches on the weekend. So it's been a big learning curve. And hopefully, these sort of logistical issues will start to fall away as the competition, as we sort of get used to the competition, as the sort of money starts to go and stuff like that. But I think from an experience point, in terms of the competition itself and the level of competition, I think you've also sort of realized when you get to the stage of these kind of competitions, you can't afford to not pitch up. And that doesn't mean, play badly. That just means if you're not at your best, these teams will beat you, because that's the quality of these teams, the quality of a Leinster at full strength, the Toulouse at full strength. If you do not pitch up and hit the ground running, you can be put away very quickly. And I think that's what we sort of South African teams experience over the weekend. Let me know what you thought about the games down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven. I'll chat to you soon.